Alright, so we're picking up where the last video left off, and we've just seen how quickly we can navigate and compose a shot with the input camera. Now we're going to have a look at how we can set that camera up to be flexible, procedural and dynamic. Once we've navigated to our desired view in the world and event, we can create a new entry in the camera library very easily. We can select from a series of predefined rig setups which mimic real-world constraints and allow addition of rules and compositional parameters. Or we can create an entirely new rig from a library of controllers and composition functions. If we select a predefined rig, we're presented with the current library, which consists of fixed positions, i.e. a tripod in the field or affixed to the stadium. Actor relative, if we wish to have a camera constrained to a character's body or position. Gameplay, allowing us to quickly test and add various gameplay views. Gameplay blend, which takes multiple gameplay settings and blends between them based on other in-game parameters. Replay, featuring rail cameras and specialized rigs, including slow-mo and underwater cams, for showing gameplay highlights. On foot, a Steadicam rig that represents human camera behavior and can be driven by waypoints and follow actors. Crane, a fixed camera position offset from a separate pivot, which can be extended and animated to simulate crane behaviors. Aerial, a rig designed for various blimp cam and aerial shots. Mobile, represents mobile cameras, Segway mounted, bike mounted, or any other driven camera rig. Spline, cameras that can be driven along predefined paths in the world, whether as a cinematic or as a response to actor movement or gameplay parameters. Once we've selected our transport method, it is added to the stack. The stack represents the active controllers acting on the current camera. This may contain multiple entries for each component type and will act in an additive manner, allowing combination of movement and composition methods to create reactive behaviors. This will be particularly useful for behavior components, for example, combining parameter-driven FOV changes with DOF transitions and target switches. Then select our targets from a list of currently active actors within the world. This allows us to abstract certain notions of characters between events, allowing us to repurpose effective cameras in different events and venues. This also gives us access to these targets when we are determining our composition methods. When selecting our composition preset, we can browse the existing library to determine how our shot will react to active movements, as well as design our shots, including bone targeting, a straight view line to an actor's bone with optional angular viewpoint offsets and smoothing parameters. 3D offset, a local space offset from an actor or bone, essentially tying us into a given bone's angle or viewing direction. Screen composition, 2D screen space targeting. This will maintain an actor's position on screen within a soft area, featuring one shot, a single actor constrained to a screen point. Two shot, two actors composed on screen at different points. This poses constraints on angle when the two actors move. Group shot takes two actors as extreme ends of a group or area and composes based on the space between. User input. This allows the player to adjust the camera angle and potentially field of view within the game presentation. This can be added to almost every other camera to give a limited sense of control over exciting moments. Behavior modes are various procedural animations that can be applied to the camera, with their timing and parameters either hard set or tied to other channels in the game. Dialogue, animation, other various aspects of presentation can feed into and assist in shaping these parametric behaviors. These include switch actor targets, allowing us to animate a sweep from one actor to another, again based upon timing of dialogue or specific behavior events passed into the director system. Switch bones animates the target and nominally but optionally the composition from one bone to another, useful for panning across an athlete to the item they are holding, for example the javelin. Switch field of view transitions the field of view between two extremes. This may be parameter driven by such elements as player proximity, time, dialogue timing, or animation cues. Autofocus transitions the depth of field from one target and setting to another, useful for rack focus shots. Can also be used to maintain focus on an actor based on proximity. Performance. This element is used to drive parameters within the camera based on player performance. This can take in values such as speed, score, likelihood of victory, and likelihood of a medal placing, and blend camera parameters accordingly. useful for creating procedural win and lose variations for presentation, as they are a direct result of the player's performance, thus no longer necessitating manual variations. We can then add a final layer of shake or additive behaviour to our shot to smooth out any remaining rigidity. We can choose from a single layer, a basic shake behaviour that can be scaled, useful for fixed angle shots and cameras that are attached to objects that already have their own motion, for example the aerial or mobile. Two-layer shake offers a more human feel, with a high frequency, low scale shake and a lower frequency, high scale motion combined to give a natural random behaviour. Two-layer plus jolt. The existing two-layer, but with a third layer of a sharp jolt, useful for impacts and unexpected occurrences, maybe long jump landings or skeet tracking. Once we have stacked our modules, we can adjust and tweak their parameters as we wish. The order of these modules allows components further down the stack to inherit and automatically link parameters down the stack. For example, targets are passed into the composition module and the target switch module, whether both targets are used in the composition module or not. This also allows for the target switch to automatically expose a screen comp offset parameter, allowing for a refined choice to be made for the second target at the animation stage. Now we have our camera, we can tag it and add it to our library and specify whether it is event specific, i.e. what conditions are appropriate for this camera, event, chapter, animation, allowing us broadness and granularity in how we construct our presentation. Doing this at the creation point also introduces faster workflow within the director system, as the cameras appropriate have already been tagged as such, thereby increasing iteration and polish.